In the previous video, the couple's contract came to an end, and Mile Mang disappeared, leaving the protagonist devastated. I'm Nina, and in today's recap we will watch Doom at your service. A few months pass, and Dong Jiyoung receives news from his doctor that with each appointment, a miracle seems to happen as his tumor shrinks, something he had never seen before, especially without treatment. Cha Juik calls the protagonist, asking her to come to her house, and as the woman was in the car with her friend, Na Jina ended up letting it slip that the two were no longer speaking. And this time she decided to act differently with her loves. The woman will no longer run after them but wait for them to come to her. At Cha Juik's house, he offers Dong Jiyoung the position of manager at his company, which currently only has 2 employees. The protagonist takes the opportunity and comments on his relationship with Na Jina. The two act as if they have all the time in the world to be together, but anything can happen, and she adds that what the man lacks is courage. Cha Juik liked the advice he received and thanked her. At night, Dong Jiyoung has dinner with her aunt and brother. She has news for her children and reveals that she will move to Korea again, together with her husband Kevin. And the protagonist says that she will go back to work. Even though this idea is not supported by the two at first, the woman explains that she can no longer stand without having anything to do. Later, when Suja and Sun Jiyoung are cleaning the dishes, they quietly comment about Mile Mang and are worried that Dong Jiyoung hasn't given many details about why he came back to the United States or whether they broke up in the end. Neither of them has the courage to ask. Na Jina receives an unexpected visitor at her home. Cha Juik appears at her door and talks about what she talked about with Dong Jiyoung. The man doesn't know if what she said is right, but he decided not to waste any more time. The man talks to Na Jina and says he will come back when she wants to sign a new contract with him or when she is ready to kiss him. The next day, the protagonist wakes up, and when she comes out of her room, she comes across Mile Mang in half of the man's house in her apartment, just like it used to be. She runs to hug him and ends up getting emotional, confessing to having missed him a lot. However, the sound of his alarm clock starts to ring, and when he opens his eyes, Dong Jiyoung realizes that it was nothing more than a dream. Later, the protagonist meets up with her old co-workers and discovers that each one has a new position, including that one of her colleagues is the new writer who was gaining views on the reading platform. And as the news doesn't stop there, she is also dating the only man left on the team. Dong Jiyoung is shocked by the findings, and when he tells Cha Juik, he has the same reaction. On the way to the office, the protagonist buys herself a rose, just like the ones Mile Mang had given her, and decides that she will think of it as if she had received it from him, because the ones she had received have already withered. Now, in relation to the office, as it is at the beginning, there isn't much yet, and Dong Jiyoung expected something bigger and better, but he settles in the end. Afterwards, the protagonist goes to Na Jina's house and convinces her to sign the contract. In the middle of their conversation, her friend says that Dong Jiyoung should start writing too, since she has experience as an editor. And Sun Jiyoung is at work talking to his boss. The boy says that now that his sister is much better, he no longer knows which wish to ask for or which path to follow. So Lee Hyun-gyu gives a little push and offers Sun Jiyoung the position of manager at the second store. Of course, the boy accepts, and because he is very grateful for the opportunities he has been receiving, he decides to reveal that he knows Na Jina and that she is like a sister to him. The two have a deeper conversation, and Sun Jiyoung says that he hopes he only lost his first love and that everything is fine between the man and Cha Juik. Lee Hyun-gyu thought about what he heard from his employee and decided to call Cha Juik to do something. The man tells his friend that he wants to restart their friendship. One night at her house, the protagonist decided to follow Na Jina's advice and start writing about the love between her and Mile Mang. The next day, Dong Jiyoung got another writer for Cha Juik's company, and it was that young man. He comments about having started reading a new novel about misfortune and that it seems very good, but he wishes the ending wasn't sad. Later, the protagonist has dinner with her loved ones in a place to celebrate the good day she had, and everyone, her aunt, brother, and friend, is interested in knowing what happened to Mile Mang and that they miss him. Afterwards, Dong Jiang goes to Mile Mang's house and sits on the sofa with the photo of the two of them in his hands to alleviate some of his longing, then writes him a message telling him how everyone misses him. Suddenly, his cell phone rings, and it is also on the sofa. The protagonist takes it to look, and there is a message that has never been sent, asking if the woman is happy. Dong Jiang lies down on his bed then, and when she turns around, she sees him next to her. However, when he goes to touch him, the man disappears, and she bursts into tears. When she is returning home, at the bus stop, the protagonist meets the girl God and is happy to know that she is okay, so she doesn't let her get rained on. Dong Jiang gives his umbrella to the girl and says he will go running. We now see the girl in the garden with Mile Mang. The man asks about his beloved, and God tells about his trajectory. When the butterfly in his garden reached the end of its life, which is Mile Mang, it would become a flower, like the remaining in the place, which symbolizes humans. Then the girl says that his true destiny was to live happily as a human and releases him to return to his beloved. The protagonist is on the bus heading home, and when the vehicle stops, someone catches her. Looking at the person, Dong Jiang can't believe who is right in front of him. Has his beloved really come back? Or is it just his mind playing tricks on her again? When they get out of the vehicle, Mile Mang tells them that he has become a human and that now he can get sick, he has to eat, sleep, etc. At home, the man explains that, thanks to the protagonist, he evolved so much that he pleased the girl God, and that's why she allowed him to be born. Before going to sleep, Dong Jiang asks him never to disappear again, and when he opens his eyes the next day, he doesn't see him in bed. At that moment, his heart feels like it's going to stop, but when he gets to the kitchen, there's his beloved. The protagonist takes Mile Mang to her brother to see if he will recognize him, and the girl says God took care of everything. Now everyone sees the man as Dong Jiang saw him. Sun Jiang hugs Mile Mang and points out how much he missed him. The God girl now lives a life as if she were a human too. She is studying and happy with the way things have turned out. Afterwards, the protagonist goes to meet the young writer, and when she leaves the two alone, Mile Mang tells her that they are going to get married and that she knows that the boy likes Dong Jiang. In order for her to get another contract signed, she convinces the young writer to talk to a fan who is Dalgona. With this meeting, the woman signs with Cha Juik's company. Meanwhile, Na Jina ends up bumping into Lee Hyungyu, and he asks her if she's going to go to the class meeting, but the woman has already moved on and says that this time she won't attend. At family dinner, Sun Jiang says that he became the manager of a coffee shop, and Mile Mang says that he is here to stay for good. The man will earn a living working in the hospital's emergency room. And the protagonist's doctor also has more color in his life, as he has a baby coming, and Dong Jiang congratulates him, after which she gets another client for the company. Mile Mang will use the nickname that the protagonist gave as her name, Kim Saram, which, in a free translation made by myself, is Human Ken. The God girl took care of several details, such as the appearance that we had already noticed and keeping the man's cell phone with battery power for more than 3 months, so that the protagonist could read the message he had never sent. Na Jina is with Cha Juik at her house, and the woman is very happy to be in the top 10. It turns out that she ventured into another genre besides romance, and it seems to have worked out. When the man goes to kiss her, she hides it and doesn't let him. However, later, the two go out for a drink, and they end up kissing. The next day, Cha Juik starts attending family dinners as Na Jina's boyfriend. The protagonist is surprised when she discovers that Sun Jiang already knew him. During dinner, Na Jina says that everyone who accompanied Mile Mang and Dong Jiang knows about their love and everything they've been through. Later, when Cha Juik and Na Jina are talking, he comments about her being his first love, and the woman knows that's not true, so the man explains his concept of first love. Each love begins with something very unique, not limited to just one person, and will always be different, no matter how many times you fall in love, so being that way, it is her first love. Meanwhile, the protagonist asked that as soon as her lover arrived home, he would call her, and Mile Mang followed the woman's request to the letter. Then she instructed him to take a shower and then call, so the man did, and while they were talking, he fell asleep, just like humans do. When she falls asleep, the protagonist ends up in the garden, and the girl explains that this is just a dream. She wanted to show her uniform to Dong Jiang and the flower that Mile Mang has become. The protagonist is grateful for all the things God has done for her, and the girl says that Dong Jiang's story isn't over yet and the man's is just beginning. At work, Mile Mang ends up meeting the husband of a pregnant woman he had treated in the emergency room, and the man thanks him for saving his wife and child. And in the office, Cha Juik talks to the protagonist about the platform's new novel, called Misfortune, at his disposal. He wants to find the author and bring him to the company. However, the girl doesn't want to become a celebrity, so she changes the subject and says goodbye. At Mile Mang's house, the two are watching the sky when several shooting stars begin to pass by, so each one makes a wish, and the man reveals that his is to marry the protagonist. What did you think of this season? I hope you enjoyed the summary. Leave your suggestions in the comments and subscribe. If you liked the video, like and share to help me. Until next time.